how do you see it, like the client businesses, like nowadays, the age when like money are expensive and like investors will start demanding like efficiency. And on top of that, we have like AI, which is like promising efficiency, and people are worried about job securities because of that. How do you see it playing out?
AI can help gain efficiencies. It can. There's not a company in my mind that you can't put AI into and apply it in content and apply it in various different areas and get 20%, 30% in efficiency gain. But AI is meant to enhance humans and enhance work and enhance knowledge. It needs humans in order to do that. It needs a human to make it better, frankly.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Reframe First, the podcast where we have honest conversation with business leaders about like what industry trends they see, what challenges they are working through, and what bets they are making. I'm Oleksij, I'm the host of the podcast, and let me welcome today our guest is Kristen Perdue. Kristen is CEO and also Chief AI Officer and other titles at AlterBridge Strategies. And hi Kristen, it's really great having you here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So with regards to AlterBridge Strategies, you specialize in like AI strategies and enablement for other businesses and help them align with like what's happening in AI world and with challenges and help them unlock some growth and efficiency through AI solutions. So could you tell us more like what you're building there, what you're doing there at AlterBridge Strategies, and what your mission actually is?
Yeah. At AlterBridge Strategies, I built the company specifically to help CEOs, founders, leaders really understand AI better, specifically Gen AI, but understand the breadth of AI as well, and really implement and embrace AI for the purposes of growth and to, I would say, cut through all the noise and the jargon. And realize ROI. It's that easy. Many organizations, whether it's SMB to enterprise, are getting tied up with all of the noise out there, and the marketing vendors love to do that. I've been in the industry for over 30 years and have been a vendor. I was a CMO, so I know about marketing fluff, and it's confusing. It's very confusing. And a lot of organizations jumped in really quick. And AI is it's different. It's not a normal software technology. It's not a normal technology at all. It is very, very different. It's more like a new language that you need to learn and a new mindset you need to overcome and accept in order to get it right. And I work as everything from a coach, advisor, to a implementer to help organizations approach it in the right way. And based off of my background, I think that my approach to it is very different, but my background contributes to it in a way that helps me stand out and helps the leaders get it right, frankly.
Okay. And when talking about AI is such a broad term, I would say. So what exactly like you're helping them implement? Like what parts, like do you teach them how to use ChatGPT, or is it something?
I focus on Gen AI, so it's more than ChatGPT. It's across the board with Gen AI. I have worked for AI companies and machine learning companies that have focused on IT and IT ops, observability. So I can have those conversations and I can help organizations understand the difference between what they might be talking about that they're trying to do that would not be a Gen AI solution, or may not be even an AI solution at all, an automation solution. But that's where there's a lot of confusion as well. Many of the IT departments have been using AI and machine learning technologies for years.
Yeah.
Companies don't even realize that when you say, "Are you using AI?" It's just they have been. It became, November 22, when ChatGPT came out. What that did was make everyone aware of AI. It's been around since the 50s. The difference is now that everybody could access it because it gave it a UI with using natural language that made it easy to access this really amazing technology that is based off of prediction of what the next thing should be. And that's where people get tripped up as well, is because they think it's like this really, and it is an advanced technology, but they think it's really, really smart and it's really, really intelligent, but it's a predictive technology. So it predicts the next thing. But that's a whole nother conversation we could get into. It's those are the conversations of having between staying focused on what do you want to do with Gen AI versus very other technology, different technology that you might be using for global IT that gets into fraud detection, risk modeling, that may be cyber solutions that you absolutely should be implementing, but aren't really necessarily the Gen AI solution.
Generative. Recently, we were doing some prototype of web camera in real offline shop, that can detect the fraud from customers. It's not Gen AI; it's just machine learning. But with regards to what you like doing at AlterBridge, you're helping businesses like find inefficiencies and use AI there. Like, what kind of inefficiencies did you help them, your
Yeah.
clients?
Yeah. One of the first things that I try to do with my clients is talk to them about strategy first, because until you have that conversation, you have to be targeting a problem with AI first. What are you trying to fix? What's your biggest challenge? And then go in to look at the inefficiencies. So, in many cases, organizations will either look at a specific process that is bottlenecked. Most are looking at, that I've worked with so far, are looking at sales processes or marketing processes um, uh, that they wish were faster. Their sales pipeline takes too long, or there's something in that. So a lot of the efficiencies have been gained in tightening up the sales cycle, tightening up how long it takes to get, shortening the sales journey, the customer journey, streamlining the customer journey, streamlining the sales cycle in general.
Mhm.
But some of the, I would say, the low hanging fruit, when you look at what can be done for quick wins, because those take a few months to get those implemented when you start, because any process that you look at, you really have to go through first, putting AI on top of an existing process that's you already know is bottlenecked. So it has some flaw in it. You really need to look at what's done today and then implement a streamlined process on top of it with AI. But there are a lot of things that you can say, what's the one thing you hate doing? What's the one thing in your day that you hate doing, or the most manual thing you have to do? And use AI to implement that process, and you immediately have efficiency gains. Most are using it when it comes, like in marketing, for content creation, for whether it's blogs, whether it's LinkedIn post. That's just touching the tip of the iceberg of what AI can do. But
Yeah.
that's a good efficiency gain in marketing. It's a place to start. Same video creations, things like that. For sales, there are so many places for sales that you can start to use it, whether it's for RFP create or role playing, creating your client, a persona of your client, using projects to help you understand your client better. Those are some of the ways you start pulling in the sales cycle, because you're pulling out insights that you haven't been able to do before. Research are some of the areas where you are immediately being able to gain efficiencies, because before it was a manual effort. So these are small efficiencies, but they're some of the places where you start. And some of the places where you start to see sales and marketing teams immediately go, okay, I want to know more. I want to know how to do XYZ with this, outreach, all of these other things. Lead gen starts getting added on and added on. So there's multitude of use cases that you start adding, and they're little small steps.
Yeah, you like we discussed, you touched like few different aspects from my experience. Like first is like content creation, another one is like AI, using AI for research on certain topics, and I don't know, do some deep research on this client, and I know much more about the client, right? Then there is AI as a personal coach, I would say, not a coach, but some rubber ducks that you can chat with and get immediate feedback and like toy around and tweak
Yeah.
the idea and so on. And then there is also AI for automation. Like you can use testing tools, so you can like create tools of your own. So out of all of that, what do you suggest customer? No, quite likely you suggest like lowest hanging fruits, like do some deep research in the customer before you talk with him. But what else do you like? What practical implementations do you
Yeah.
recommend?
Well, for most customers, frankly, what I've found, and this is kind of, if you step back, you see all these statistics of where adoption is, and this isn't the exact statistic, but like 75% of companies have adopted AI. Further in, adoption doesn't mean that they're all using it. That statistic is usually coming from the CEO who says, okay, people are using it, we got it. When you look more into the individual contributors, they're still maybe using it at home. They're not using it at work. And they also don't feel like they can use it at work. There's a big gap right now between and the communication down to the individual contributors and the training to the individual contributors to make them feel confident to use it and to be efficient or fluent. There's a huge gap in fluency. I just saw something from Section. They do a fluency report every 6 months. They just came out in January with their fluency report, and it's 5,000 companies, 1,000 people and above, employees and above. And the fluency score went from last June of a 39 out of 100 to a 40 out of 100. That's a failing score. And that's and a majority of them, if you ask them, say they understand AI, they're good at it. So that means that you have employees in your company that are confident using AI, but they got a 40% score. They failed. So that's a huge risk element. So when you ask, what should they be using? My first response to that is you need to get the foundations right first. If you're talking about agentic, don't yet. You're trying to run before you're even crawling. The 3 things that you have to get right are strategy. You have to understand what you want to accomplish. You have to understand that which processes are the ones that you really want to use AI on, and you have to start training. If you don't understand how to use AI, you don't understand this new language and fluently, you're not going to be able to leverage it or use it and expect ROI out of it. It is like being dropped on a foreign island where everybody speaks some type of weird language, the native AI robot, and you have to be able to do and conduct business in all the dialects, all the jargon, and you have to learn it from scratch. All of us are having to learn this new jargon to speak with the AI robot. Think of it as a robot with its own language. And you can't just stop with one session that gives you the basic alphabet in order to. And so when I'm asked that question of, well, what should I be doing for, getting ready for agents, and what should I be implementing, and what should I be doing? And you have to start with the foundations. You really do. And that's the shift that's going on in the mindset and the reality that I see that's different than probably any other time that we've had. People talk about this being a disruption or a transformation or similar to the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
I think this is, call it what you want to, this is causing a bigger change because it is requiring everyone to reset their expectations, their language, and a change that no one is expecting. It's a whole new way of doing business. They have to learn a new language. They have to be open to looking at their processes differently. They can look at it as a huge opportunity, which it is, or they can continue to try to limp through it, and limping through it's just going to continue to put them behind. Because the ones that start to say, "Okay, this is a huge opportunity. Let me start just embracing it. Let me get my mind around thinking differently, thinking in AI or like AI." It's the difference of process engineering versus even hacking is different. You have to think in processes, not like a software technology. It's not, development is different. Everything's different. So it's a different way of thinking, and this requires you to change a huge amount and start absorbing. And that's why that's why it starts with strategy, to really rethink where to start, and usually to start with one thing, get through it, get your learnings through it, and then go, okay, what did we learn? And then go to the next one. And a lot of people aren't that patient.
Yeah, but they got to become patient.
They have to become patient, which I'm terrible. I am not a patient person at all. But this is one of the things. You have to become patient. You have to do one big project at a time, and maybe a few of the small hanging fruit things, so you can start seeing some results. But this is a big deal. It's a huge deal.
Okay. Yeah, with regards to the industries of your clients, like, well, what industries are your clients in? Because if talking about tech, like everybody is like adopting AI for like rapidly, but
Yeah.
probably that this is some other industries that you are talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with multiple different clients. I've worked with marketing agencies,
Okay.
expert-led clients, legal, travel industry, which is weird, PE-backed companies. I'm working with a tech SaaS company right now.
Okay.
In the one company that I've worked with recently, and I'm still working with many of these companies, had a realization, and
Well,
all of these companies have been with the CEO. One of these companies is with the board, and
Kristen, I
it
think
was a
your recording is
realization
broken.
of, my gosh, AI is different. We need to embrace this, and we know nothing. We see some of our competitors are ahead already with at least marketing what they're doing with AI. And we need to kind of reinvent ourselves, because we can do this too. And pulling on
Kristen?
my background as a CMO, pulling on my background in all of tech, and everything I've done, from product to CMO to business, all of it, and having me come in to help them reposition, to help them look at AI in their company from product to internal, and from a strategic standpoint, and now from an implementation standpoint, and continuing forward on what that means for them as a company. But they did the step back realization and now help us become an AI ready company, or AI forward company, AI aware and enabled company. And I think and they reached out to I never like to say expert, but they reached out to someone that was qualified to come in and help them. I think a lot of companies are in the midst of that realization, and some will reach out to get help, some won't. And I think that this is one of those areas where, if you don't have the expertise in house, that you do need to reach out. Yeah, I mean, I've had customers in all very different. The one that I'm working with right now, kind of had and it's from the board perspective. All of them have been from the CEO or the board, but in this scenario, the board realized that there was competitors had been marketing at least what they were doing with AI, and then they had kind of the realization that they didn't really know anything about AI. They from a technical standpoint, they had done some stuff with AI, but they really, from a company standpoint, they didn't have the talent inside to implement AI internally, to market AI. They didn't have the strategy around AI. And my position coming in was really help them reposition to be more of an AI ready company, AI forward company. What does that mean for them? And to help them become that company. And from a marketing standpoint, from a business standpoint, from a product standpoint, what does that mean for them? And I think a lot of companies are kind of at that pivot point right now of going, what does this really mean? And what's interesting is some will think they can do this on their own, even if they don't have AI talent inside. They're debating this. AI is very much a different animal that I spend my entire day, my entire weekend, my entire 24/7 getting fire hosed about AI. I have an entire community that I rely on of other chief AI officers that are also certified to communicate with and change and exchange information and network with. I don't know how anybody is assigned to lead AI on top of another job that they do. I just don't. People need someone to own it. Organizations need someone to own it, or they need to get assistance and at least a operational plan and to help own it through what they're trying to accomplish. That's belief. Whether it's a CAIO or whether it's a consultant, problem there is that there's AI consulting is slowly becoming a commoditized group because a lot of consultants decided to just tack on, that's what I do, and get a one-day certification. So it's hard to find someone that you really can trust knows what they're doing. But just because it's hard to find someone that you know is qualified doesn't mean that you shouldn't look to find that person. There's things you can do on your own as a company, but I do believe you need to seek out help if you can, because this is very different. Or you assign someone and get them certified and you make them own it. That's possible too. And I've seen a lot of companies do that as well.
Yeah, and with regards to like them, the AI officer job is like, do they also help them to like automate some process, streamline some processes? Because like the same, sales cycle, like nowadays, from what I see, with help of proper automations, with help of AI solutions, a small team can do something that in the past was done like, but 20, 30 people teams.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I mean, many chief AI officers are technical, many aren't. Some focus on strategy. I can do some automations. I can do a lot of. I can do a mean custom GPT, those types of things. I'm slow at automation because I was never a developer. I don't. I can think through the process. I can architect what needs to be done, but when I start actually working on it, it's slow because it's not natural for me. So I pull in my counterparts because it's just more efficient for me to do that and more efficient for my client to do that. So I pull in my counterparts as part of my team to do the actual integrations if it starts to come to integrating to AWS or integrating into like a CRM or doing something like that that's more complicated, or doing a multiple stage integration for something a little bit more complex. But that's the way that I choose to do it because there's so much else, other things for me to do that I'm already involved in. Others just focus on all the automation and doing that. That's what they do. But a chief AI officer in general is a blend of many of the departments, and a facilitator understands how everything's supposed to flow and understands the AI, understands how to architect, can be or cannot be technical.
yeah,
Depends.
yeah, yeah, sure. Where do you think, where do you see it going actually? So what do you think's next? Like last year, like everybody was talking a lot about agents. Like 2 years ago, they started talking about AI agents. Last year, it was trend about multi-agent systems, and the world is like slowly shifting that direction. At least tech world. What's your perspective, like from the market? Where do you think it's moving?
Yeah, I think we're heading towards the agentic. I think we may also see a small shift with more of these AI employees starting to come out with these specialized. I think you and I had talked earlier about brains and cloning, but I think many organizations have a need for a specific, like I need an accountant, already trained brain agent, assistant, whatever you want to say. That would be great if I had that, because then I could process things and it already knows everything. And that's what people have been talking about when they talk about AI employees that are trained on a specific task. It's like
Yeah.
an agent. It has some agentic qualities in it, will know how to do the flows. But I think we may see an uptick in that, but that's somewhat the uptick in the use of agents, frankly, but more specialized.
Yeah, actually, like all the agent needs is like access to data and access to tools and proper instruction of what needs to be done. Yeah, sure, it will make mistakes, but you can get the level of mistakes down to the acceptable level, because like human also do mistakes.
And the one thing that I'm very aware of in what I do is that clients don't just want AI. They don't just want, they want the outcomes. They want to be able to trust, and they want it, they want to be able to trust it, number one. And with AI, I won't say there will always be, because even with ChatGPT, if you know what you're doing, you can get it to 0.9% no hallucination, or I'll never say 100%, but you can get it to where you can trust it. If you know how to do the right questioning and the right narrowing. But with the delivery, they want the outcome. They don't care how it's delivered. They don't care that you're using agentic. They don't care so much. I mean, there's going to be a techie guy that does. He's going to be all into that. But they're looking for, how can you save me X amount of time and deliver this? And that I can, and tell me how much I can trust it, so I can know what other process needs to be involved. That's what they want to know and understand. And with AI, I don't think for any time soon we're going to be delivering something and saying it's 100%, you can trust it out of the gate. It's going to be, here you go. You need to have a human in the loop. You need to have human review from this result, almost with everything. Even on the shop floors where you have AI robots working and doing things, you always have a human overseeing things. And this is where I go back to what I had said about predictive, and I think this helps people understand AI a little bit better. AI doesn't understand what you're asking it right now. And AI doesn't understand. It predicts the next piece of text. Just like when we used to text, years ago, when we started texting and all of a sudden it would understand, and we always, even today, get mad when autocomplete something that it didn't predict correctly. This is just very advanced auto.
It's autocomplete on steroids, but it does job.
Well, it's great. And it's the same thing with the image. It predicts the next pixel. It predicts, the more it gets to know you, the better it gets at predicting what should happen. And the more information it has, it gets better at predicting, but it doesn't understand. Once you start using it, you're like, oh my gosh, it knows me so well. It understands everything. It's not knowledge. It's just info.
How do you see it in business? And like, how do you see it like with the client businesses. Like nowadays, the age when like money are expensive and like investors start demanding like efficiency. And on top of that, we have like AI, which is like promising efficiency, and people are worried about job securities because of that. How do you see it playing out? Because like then there is CEO who comes down to his team and like, okay, we need to cut. We need to not cut. We need to cut costs. We need to optimize by 10%.
Well,
And
this is where I hope a lot of those CEOs and the private equity get educated. AI can help gain efficiencies. It can. There's not a company in my mind that you can't put AI into and apply it in content and apply it in various different areas and get 20%, 30% in efficiency gains. But AI is meant to enhance humans and enhance work and enhance knowledge. It needs humans in order to do that. It needs a human to make it better, frankly. It is an enhancer and it's an enabler. It needs the interaction to get better. It's not really here to take anybody's job. It is here to make output better. Now, I will say, I admit there are some very, very junior jobs that it could replace very quickly. But yeah, there are some that that are very junior jobs that it could replace quickly. I would be more worried for those people who don't learn how to use AI. Those are the ones that would be easy to cut because they're not
that's just
AI
like
to enhance productivity and to do things. That's more of what I would be fearful of now, is if you have a mindset of, I don't want to change, I don't want to learn this, or you're fearful of learning it, that's where I would be worried about my job. There are companies who have made quick knee-jerk reactions of, I'm going to lay off all these people. And then many of them have turned around and started hiring people back because they realized that AI wasn't capable of doing what they wanted it to do, and it didn't have the knowledge, because a lot of the knowledge in AI was scraped off the websites and out of books. It didn't have the human nuance of problem solving, the nuance of the magic sauce, decisions. In many cases, it just doesn't. So there will be mistakes made, like there have been. And but I think as organizations have become more educated and analysts and hearing the mistakes that are made, there's a lot more, I would say, leeriness in doing that knee-jerk reaction of, oh, AI is here, so I can do this now. Hopefully a lot more prudence in making sure that they're doing the right thing in the right way. But from an employee standpoint, if you're not trying to, if your company's not educating you, you should be trying to educate yourself. Because if you're not learning something about AI, you're doing a disservice to yourself.
Yeah, because it's not like AI that will replace you. It's some other person with AI as a tool will replace you. Because like what could be done by a team of five people now can be done by one or two people with AI as a tool. So this is the key to efficiency. And then like business owner got to choose, like does he want the same level of efficiency but with a smaller team, or is he okay to keep the larger team and get extra efficiency?
Yeah.
But
The only thing that I recommend is make sure that you learn from, if you go to YouTube to learn, make sure that it's from a group or some like section, or I have no alliance with section, but make sure you go somewhere go to OpenAI, learn, go to Google and learn, go somewhere that you know is reputable versus just some stray person that's teaching, or shooting videos because they want to. Bad habits on AI are just as dangerous, especially when you're learning the basics. I would make sure that you do that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks a lot for sharing all this information. Like, would you like to add anything else on top of that?
Not really. I mean, it's just, well, I'll reiterate for anyone. I mean, the organizations are still, I mean, the statistics you hear, you know, that there's so many companies that are using AI and have already adopted it, that statistic is very overhyped, because the
Sure.
reality is that, yeah, they may have somebody in the company using it, but the adoption is still really low. You're not behind, but I do believe that 2026 is the year that if you don't start adopting and don't have a strategy, don't have a plan, and don't initiate something, in 2027, you will be behind. Organizations need to start moving. And the three things that if you don't focus on first, and if you go straight to technology, AI is a people and process and technology issue. It's the epitome of it, but 70% of it is people and process. 10% of it is tech, and there's probably 20% that comes into mindset, leadership, alignment, those types of things. That's from a BCG report, and I fully support it from what I've seen. You need strategy, you need to focus on the processes and the pain points. You need to be willing to look at your processes, and you need to train. You need to understand it. If you focus on those before you ever get to the tech, really won't matter. You can choose any tech after that. It really won't matter. Swap between AIs. It's all the same. Don't worry about so much noise and the tech that everybody's changing, upgrading, updating. When you're ready for it, the tech will be there. Trust me. If you get the other ones up front and you start training, pick a tech. ChatGPT and Gemini keep battling it out to be the top. So pick a tech that you want to work at. You know, if you're stuck on Microsoft and Copilot, okay, Copilot is not the strongest of the AI assistants today. It just isn't. And there are enterprise versions of ChatGPT, and they can, and there are secure ways to use them all. And then as far as all the other tools, you can get to that. There are other cool tools to use, but you can get to that once you get the basics down. But that's what's going to save you and give you ROI versus getting into whirlwinds of pilots that are failing and wondering what the heck you've spent money on and time on and spinning in spirals. There you go.
Yep, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to everyone adopting AI and learning AI. They need to start moving at a certain point.
Yeah. You need to start moving. And this year is the year to start moving, because
Yep.
if you wait 27,
Little bit.
and I don't mean fear factor, but then I think you will be quote behind.
Yeah, because
some.
somebody
You don't know yet.
because somebody or some other business with AI will either replace you, not push you out of market. As simple as that. Okay, thanks a lot, Kristen, for
Thank you.
for this discussion. It was really interesting, and good luck with your consultancy in AI world. Thank you. Hey.